This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Another day, another deadline delayed. Nancy Pelosi has been defeated by progressives because she tried to have a vote on Thursday and Friday for infrastructure, but 90 unified progressive Democrats rallied against her and said they're not going to vote for infrastructure unless the $3.5 trillion stimulus is voted alongside it. President Biden went to the Capitol to try to get Democrats to play along nicely, and he had this really interesting comment. I'm going to play you this video clip of what he said. You don't want to miss that one. Pramila Jayapal is waiting for a counteroffer for that $3.5 trillion stimulus. No offers yet, but supposedly President Biden wants to have it down to $2 trillion. Joe Manchin, senator from West Virginia, was ambushed on his yacht by a bunch of protesters on kayaks, and he agreed that he wanted to tax the rich. I'm going to play a video clip from that. Also, we'll go over this article right here, $1,400 stimulus check for seniors as economic recovery slows. Here's how it happens, and I'll give you some other important updates along the way. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So when it comes to stimulus checks, $1,400 stimulus check for seniors as economic recovery slows. Here's how it happens. So I mentioned this before, the Senior Citizens League had a petition to give out $1,400 stimulus checks to senior citizens collecting Social Security. At this point, I don't know how many signatures it got, but it hasn't really gained enough momentum to get into Congress, to get in that $3.5 trillion package. So at this point, it looks like this is not going anywhere. Just want to give you an honest update on that. And when it comes to the $2,000 per month fourth stimulus check, the petition at change.org is at 2,910,000 signatures. Also want to give you an honest update on this as well. It has not made it into that $3.5 trillion package. So a fourth stimulus check is not in any package anywhere. Just want to give you that honest update. Things might change later on, but it's we don't know yet. So let's get on to what's going on with infrastructure and the other $3.5 trillion stimulus. So Biden says Democrats should delay infrastructure vote until a deal is reached. So Biden steps in saying that the Democrats are going to have to vote on it simultaneously, both the infrastructure, the part one, and the $3.5 trillion package, the part two. So he originally said this a while back when President Biden shook hands with Republican senators saying they were going to do a bipartisan way. And then a few hours later, Nancy Pelosi said it has to be done together, and he agreed with it. So that's where Biden stands right now. He said Biden says he'll work like hell to get infrastructure agenda across the finish line. So what he said right before getting on his plane, he said, everybody is frustrated. It's part of being in government, being frustrated. He also went on to say there is no reason why both these bills couldn't pass independently, except that there's not the votes to do it that way. Basically saying that it needs to be done at the same time. Biden rallies support for social spending deal as House Democrats delay infrastructure votes. So because the House Democrats, mainly the progressives, were able to vote against the infrastructure vote, they didn't really have the official vote, but there just wasn't enough votes to have the official vote. That is the reason why infrastructure is delayed, as well as the whole stimulus bill as well. So House Democrats are holding off on passing the bipartisan infrastructure bill as progressives threaten to vote against it while they seek agreement on a second larger spending plan. President Joe Biden went to the Capitol to meet with House Democrats and rally support for his economic plans. Here's a video clip from President Biden at the Capitol. You don't want to miss this. Check this out. Let me know what you think.
They're all legit. I'm telling you, we're going to get this done. It doesn't matter whether it's in 6 minutes, 6 days, or 6 weeks. We're going to get it done. Unite the party, 50-50. I got it.
Let me know your thoughts on what President Biden said. I thought it was an interesting choice of words with that 666 reference, 6 minutes, 6 days, 6 weeks. Is there any more behind that? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Thought it was pretty interesting, those choice of words. So Biden tells Democrats $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill can't pass without spending deal. That's what it all comes down to. Even President Biden wants it all paired up. So Pramila Jayapal, who is the Progressive Caucus leader, the one in charge of this big fight against Nancy Pelosi and behind the revolt in the Democratic Party. So Pramila Jayapal still waiting for an offer to counter the $3.5 trillion on the table. No offers yet. Here's what Pramila Jayapal Paul has to say about that.
The reason I want to vote is because I want to be assured that there is no delay and that there's no misunderstandings about what we agreed to. And so if there's something else that's short of a vote that somebody can offer me that gives me those same assurances, I want to listen to that. But right now, I'm still saying, you know, we need a vote. Me? Yeah. I'm here, baby. I'm here. I'll be here as long as I need to. The negotiations are continuing. The discussions are continuing. I'm in very close touch with the White House. They are obviously really working hard with the senators. And I'm keeping in touch with my caucus, obviously, to make sure I know what the temperature is of everybody. And we're doing everything we can to get quickly to an agreement. And listen, we are going to pass these two things. You all know Capitol Hill. It is a strange place. Things. I've only been here 4.5 years. I still find it strange. But things only happen here when there is urgency and you know, some reason for people to be at the table. We've seen more progress in the last 48 hours than we have seen in a long time on reconciliation, on the Build Back Better Act. I'm not talking to them. I mean, I'd be happy to, but right now those negotiations are with the White House.
Give me for a second. You said that things only get done on Capitol Hill when there's a sense of urgency, that there's a deadline, that there's something like that. And we all know that that's how it happens. But when it comes to this, there actually really isn't one. There's no deadline. This can get pushed and pushed.
Well, that's right. But I think the only thing we have here is that there are some people who really want to pass the infrastructure bill right now, and so that includes, you know, the two senators, and so I think that is allowing us to have people at the table once they realize that infrastructure bill wasn't going to pass in the House. And look, we tried to tell people this. That bill was crafted just with a small group of senators. We have a very small margin here in the House. And we have said over and over again that in the House, everybody is Joe Manchin. And we have also a very strong progressive caucus. And I'm just so proud of our caucus because they are standing up for people who feel like they have not been heard in this country for a very long time. People who came out and voted for the president because of this agenda.
Is anything ever going to get done in Congress? This was supposed to be done months ago, but this is, I guess, is just how Congress works. Let me know your thought on what Pramila Jayapal said down in the comments below. So Biden floats roughly $2 trillion price tag for reconciliation. So to go down from $3.5 trillion to $2 trillion. Now, this didn't come out of President Biden's mouth as a public statement, but it came from the Democrat Representative Henry Cuellar from Texas, saying he is the president of the United States and he says that he wants to get this done, and he basically linked them together. He basically said it's not going to be $3.5 trillion. It could be $1.9 trillion to $2 trillion. The president threw out some numbers, so I assume there was a reason why. So we're going to see what happens. Looks like there are a few progressives, or many progressives, who will not let that number slip. Moving on to Senator Joe Manchin, who is ambushed on his yacht by activists demanding he back the infrastructure bill. So a bunch of activists have been going to his yacht for several days, and then they finally caught him right outside. Here's a video clip of Joe Manchin talking about taxing the rich while being on his yacht to protesters.
Let me talk if you can. Where are y'all from? Anybody from West Virginia? We have
Yes.
West Virginia?
We have a lot of West Virginians.
God bless you all. But gang, we're working hard. We really are. We're going to continue to in good faith. I really. We want to get a good bill that's a balanced bill, that's well done. And I know it won't be enough for some, and it'll be too much for others. In West Virginia, you know, West Virginia's a little bit different than usual.
There's a lot of poverty. What are you going to do for the poor in West Virginia?
We're going to be working everything we can to create good opportunities.
And we need to tax the rich.
Well, I agree with that. I definitely agree. That's the one number thing we should be doing, is fixing the tax code so everybody pays their fair share. We should be also negotiating for lower drug prices. We should be doing all these things. I agree with you 1,000%. We're on the same page, gang. We really are. We have, here, let me just explain on that one. We will get to that eventually, but right now we can't even take care of it. It's going to go broke in 2026. Let us fix it. We're taxing the rich. I agree. We're going to make the rich and the famous pay.
And that over 10 years is $6 trillion, right? $6 trillion. $6 trillion. And we're talking about
how much do you think that we spend
fund every year on non-discretionary basis. Let me just give you all this.
Wait, I got one little bit of information for you. The Republicans are likely to take over the Senate. We don't. This is our one chance right now to pass the legislation.
In that type of situation, when a senator or a public figure is ambushed by protesters, usually they just try to agree with the protesters, which is what I think Joe Manchin did, because he didn't really stand as firm as he does in Capitol Hill as he did with those protesters. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Didn't really look like a yacht either, but maybe it was just the angle of how that was filmed. Let me know your thoughts on that. Here is another video clip that is going to sum everything up and what the next steps are. Just in case there are a few holes that I didn't get to plug, this video clip explains it all.
President Biden left the White House today, heading home to Delaware, with Democrats still divided on spending priorities and a bipartisan infrastructure deal in doubt. CBS's Christina Ruffini is at the White House tonight with the very latest.
Good evening, Jamie. The White House says the president is still engaged with lawmakers over the weekend, but those divisions among Democrats are putting his domestic agenda and that bipartisan infrastructure bill
We'll proceed.
The Senate gavelled in on a Saturday.
I ask unanimous consent that the bill be considered
to unanimously pass a 30-day stopgap funding measure for the Department of Transportation after the House failed to hold a vote this week on the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill.
Part of being in government.
President Biden made an in-person appeal at the Capitol yesterday to opposing wings of his own party, preaching patience to Democrats at odds over two major pieces of legislation.
There is no reason why both these bills couldn't pass independently, except that they're not the votes to do it that way.
Progressives say they won't support the infrastructure bill without a separate $3.5 trillion social spending package. Moderates say that's too much. In a statement today, Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema called the delayed vote on the infrastructure bill inexcusable and an ineffective stunt to gain leverage. But after meeting with the president, some progressives say they are willing to negotiate.
Let's put down our values and let's figure out where we can meet in the middle ground.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said in a letter to colleagues today they will need more time to work out a deal on how to pass those two bills, but said she hopes it will happen soon.
Thank you for watching.